Welcome to my blueprinting best practices video. Blueprinting not only lowers cost, but it increases productivity, and more important, it increases customer satisfaction. So something you definitely want to think about and consider coming on board with blueprinting. Let's take a second to consider the ICAR mission statement. The ICAR vision is that every person in the collision industry, current and future, has the necessary knowledge and skills relevant to their position to achieve a complete and safe repair. That is the ICAR mission statement. Traditionally, when you think of a blueprint, you think of some kind of design, some kind of engineering design. In the collision industry, a blueprint is a detailed plan or program of action. When fixing a vehicle after a crash, we want to do a quality repair. We want to make the vehicle safe again. We want to know everything there is to know about fixing this car up front before we put our hands on the car. The collision repair industry has been around for a long time. It's no spring chicken. But in the past, estimates have been done without really taking the vehicle apart. Just getting the visible damage. That quick initial contact, that quick estimate is usually fertile ground for selling the customer, for getting the job in the shop. Would you say that it's important for your estimators to know how to sell? Absolutely. You got to get the job. You got to have the soft skills. Now, you can have all the selling ability in the world. You can be one of the best salespeople in the world, but if you don't have the proper approvals, you're not going to get the job. So getting the proper approval is key. Has the insurance company accepted liability? If you're working off a shop estimate, look at it very closely, right? Eyes wide open. Now, no matter how good you are, how long you've been in the industry, if there's hidden damage, you're not going to see it up front. So all the experience in the world cannot reveal hidden damage to you, but you are very aware of it. Wouldn't it be great to know about that hidden damage up front so that you don't have to order parts again and everything stops and starts all over again? The cost of not catching everything up front really is substantial. It adds up, and it costs the shop and the insurance company. How much time is wasted just waiting for a reinspection, for example? The car has to be put off to the side. It's taking up valuable space, waiting for reinspection, waiting for more parts to come in. It's better to get it all up front. Supplements. Nobody likes that. Not the insurance company, not even politicians. Government hates all these repair bills with so many supplements. Customer doesn't like it. It's a lot of work. Some jobs require subletting parts of the job out. Now, when do you want to find out about that? During the repair process? No, we want to find out about any subletting at the beginning, so we know they're going to come to us, or we got to take it somewhere. How much would you say lack of knowledge costs you as a shop? It can add up, could be substantial. Better planning up front equals better workflow downstream. That's what blueprinting is. That's what we want. We don't want this stop and go. We want to know everything up front. The studies are out. There is a relationship between blueprinting and accuracy, quality repairs, cycle times, improved customer service ratings, and role relevant training. A lot of experts and shop owners are saying the same thing. You want to improve cycle times? Then get on board with blueprinting. It's important that you talk with your customer, build a relationship with your customer, let them know what is happening at the shop, why it's happening, why blueprinting is used, so that they know what to expect. Informed customers are happy customers. A critical component to blueprinting is none other than attention to detail. This is very important that we pay attention to detail. Some people say that blueprinting is synonymous with the discovery process. Organization is very, very important. You want to have a clear picture of the overall repair, so that you know exactly what your outcome is. You have a very clear picture of what the desired result should look like. So before you start the repair, you want to identify all the parts, equipment, materials, procedure, and labor. That's the time to do it before. When you do proper blueprinting, there are no surprises. Nothing is left to chance. You have complete information. You have the make, model, year, production date, mileage, fuel. You even have the key for the wheel locks. Stumbling points are painful. Once the vehicle goes into production, keep it in production, keep it moving. Good customer contact information. Who is the customer? Who has power of attorney over this vehicle? How does this customer want to be contacted? What is the best time to contact them? You got to have all the insurance information if the insurance is involved, and make sure the customer knows what they are responsible for. The customer interview process can be very helpful because you can get a description of the accident. You can get some information about what happened in the accident. You can find out if there are any unusual noises after the accident, or any vibrations, or if the vehicle is handling differently. Now, most shops test drive vehicles, but sometimes it's better to do it sooner than later. Now, if that vehicle has been in an accident before, there's prior loss history on that vehicle. Will it affect your current repair? Absolutely it will, so you want to know that up front. A classic example would be a sectioning procedure. If a sectioning procedure has been done on that vehicle already, well, guess what? You can't do a new sectioning procedure in the same place. So that's a good piece of information to know. Determining related and non-related damage to the vehicle with the customer present. Walking around the vehicle with the customer present is a great idea. A benefit to having the customer there with you during the walk around is you have an opportunity to upsell. You can make a separate estimate for non-related damage. You want to document as you go, as you're seeing these visual indicators and you're performing your quick checks, even measuring. Document everything. Document the damage as you go is a good pro tip. All the repairs necessary. Can you do everything in-house, or are you going to have to sublet some of the repairs? Vehicles today are loaded with technology, so it's challenging to be able to provide every procedure after an accident for a vehicle, but maybe you are equipped to do everything. Anytime you do a major repair, you have to disconnect the battery. This causes things to lose their programming, so we can take notes on radio presets and we can educate the customer about why we have to disconnect the battery, and we demonstrate to customers that we care by providing seat covers at check-in and floor protectors. So the customers have a consistent experience. Why not use a pre-check-in list so it's the same every time? Now let's talk about photos. Probably the number one complaint from insurance companies or insurance adjusters is poor quality photos. The photo does not show me enough. You get to start with your four corners, and then you take a picture of the specific damage and make sure that the pictures reveal exactly what you're looking at. Now you want to catch the full magnitude of the photo as best you can. But what are things that affect photos? The angle, the color of the vehicle, the lighting, glare. So be aware of those things. Sometimes it's necessary to take pictures before a vehicle is washed and after the vehicle is washed. Every accident is unique. Sometimes you have an animal strike situation, and you got to take pictures of blood and guts. It's very important that the photo tells the story, so you have to pay attention to detail. Take good pictures. Are the pictures consistent with the story that you're trying to tell? Is the unrelated damage properly documented? Make sure that your detailed photos really tell the story of the current loss. Was the vehicle butchered by another shop? If so, it's a good idea to document it with pictures. Instrument panel pictures, the dash. Is there a malfunction LED light on? Fuel level, mileage. Those pictures should be clear. It's your responsibility as the person taking the pictures to make sure that the pictures are clear. Don't rely on the preview screen of the camera, because sometimes it looks okay on the preview screen, but on the computer it's not so clear. Now, once a vehicle goes into production, you want to keep the repair rolling. So don't let exotic colors, custom finishes, or unique colors stop the production process. You want to identify early on at the beginning That's what blueprinting is all about. At the very beginning, identify what finish needs to go on that vehicle so that it doesn't stop at the booth and hold things up. You may have to strip paint off a vehicle because you have layers and layers and layers. Make sure to identify this up front. It is rare, but sometimes the color under the hood or the door jambs is different. Sometimes you got to pay attention to the texture of the paint, or know what if the vehicle has chip guard. Many shops use, and is very helpful, what's called a refinish checklist. It would be a shame if the vehicle is ready to be put back together, but the mirror did not get painted or the gas door. So a refinish checklist can help you avoid these pitfalls. Let's quickly talk about visual indicators such as panel gaps, buckles in the panels, seam sealer separation or weld separation, cracked paint, cracked glass. Do your doors and hood and trunk, do they open and close properly? Of course, depending on the extent of the damages to the vehicle, you need to open up your eyes wide to see additional damage. Having experience is always very helpful, but experienced or not, never make assumptions. Now, if you've been in the industry for a long time, you'll notice that the modern cars don't show obvious damage like they used to. And they're saying this is because of so much high-strength steel and ultra-high-strength steel found in modern cars. They behave differently now. This new modern technology protects passengers better, but it does affect the repair process. So it's good to know these things up front. On-vehicle notes is very popular. Maybe green means repair, red means do not repair. But if you consistently use symbols and codes that everybody understands, everybody in the shop, and you develop an as standard operating procedure, these notes, these on-vehicle notes can be very valuable. It's very important that you pay lots of attention to detail when you're blueprinting, because some of your parts are very small, some are huge, and there's things like intangibles, knowledge, skills, of course, equipment that's needed that's not part of the vehicle but are very important. As the vehicle is torn apart and you have everything in front of you, you need to know what can be reused and what needs to be replaced. High attention to detail is required. Something you have to ask yourself over and over during the disassembly process is, which clips broke? Which ones are they? You're always asking yourself, what am I going to need to put this job back together at the end? If you have a lot of good quality photos and you take these photos during the disassembly process, they can really come in handy when it comes time to put that vehicle back together. A scavenger hunt can bring variety and excitement to your day. It also can bring stress. So know where your keys are. Be organized. Know where everything is at, so you're not searching for keys, clips, bolts. It's very important that you have your parts sorted out so that you know what's going to be repaired, you know what's going to be replaced, you know what's going to be reused. Something that can be very helpful are parts cards, organizers. Sometimes you have to custom make organizers for your shop. Your organizing could be something as simple as Ziploc bags and black markers. You want to label everything and put everything away as it comes off. You want to standardize how you organize these things, because with all the different technicians in the shop and they all have 5 different ways of organizing these parts, then it's no fun, especially if you're not the person who took the car apart. When you have consistency and organization, that equals less frustration. And that means you have more time to bond with your team members. There's a sense of community and camaraderie. It's amazing how it's a joy to work at a shop that's organized. When a shop is clean and organized, employees can't wait to come in the morning. What a concept, huh? Amazing. Sometimes you get to be creative and make your own rack, like this door trim panel rack made out of everyday components that you can find at a hardware store. This custom door trim panel rack was not expensive. It was easy to make. They stick the RO number on the back of the door panel, and highly visible, very organized. Sometimes the damage to a vehicle, a unibody frame vehicle, is subtle. So the only way you're going to appreciate the damage is by measuring it, three-dimensional measuring. So again, if a vehicle has been in an accident but the damage is not very obvious, then the only way to know is to measure it so you can ID and document the damage. Identification and documentation of damage through comparative measurements, point-to-point measurements, and 3D measurements is a key ingredient. There are a variety of measuring systems out there, but what's needed is something that's efficient. Here in this slide, you see the Matrix Wand 3D camera-based system. It's a pretty efficient system that provides full color documentation of the damage and the repairs needed. It's important that you're able to print out hard copies of the damage and what needs to be done. And this is a pretty neat system that can also measure the entire vehicle, other parts of the vehicle. Now obviously steering and suspension can become damaged during a collision, so get as much information as you can from the customer. Did the vehicle leave the road? Did it hit a curb? Do comparative measurements, do point-to-point measurements on the ball joints and the strut towers, for example, so that you don't have problems later on the alignment rack. Now, because we're a collision shop, we can fix things that a normal alignment shop cannot fix. For example, if suspension points do not line up with the reference points on the structure along the length of the vehicle, then we might have issues with caster. Because collision shops have frame pulling equipment, they can correct alignment issues that regular alignment shops cannot. Now let's talk about the width of the vehicle. For me, width of the vehicle is synonymous with camber and steering axis inclination, or SAI. So check your suspension pivot points, control points, and reference points. If you've been in the industry for a while, you know that every accident is unique, and accidents can affect steering angles such as camber, caster, toe on turns, included angle, steering angle inclination, also known as scrub radius, thrust angle, even the ride height. It could be one or a combination of these things that can be affected by an accident. As we said many times before, the damage may not be obvious, sometimes it's subtle, but you still have to verify it. You need to know what measurements to make. It starts with effective questions, and this comes over time with experience, because visual indicators don't always steer you in the right direction. It's key that everybody's on the same page and we all are familiar with these steering angles. If you're going to bring a vehicle back to its pre-collision state, you can't ignore the technology that's on vehicles today. Sensor calibrations, ride height, sensor calibrations, steering angle, sensor calibrations, electronic stability control, raised toe adjustments. These are examples of technologies found on vehicles today. Many shops have alignment racks in-house, and they perform the alignment at the beginning. This way they're assured that they're not going to miss anything. Experience is important. Experience saves you time, because as you gain experience, you know how much disassembly is required to find damage, and you know that a systematic approach is the way to go. If you're inspecting an air conditioning system, follow the hoses. Same with the cooling system. Go system by system. Use a systematic approach. Have a keen attention to detail. Get it up in the air if it's possible, so that you can see all angles. Open the hood, even though usually you can't see suspension parts from up above. Open the hood so you can see all angles. course, if you're going to examine a system and go system by system, you have to be real familiar with each system. For example, an AC system has an evaporator, a condenser. No lines of an air conditioning system can have any type of moisture in them. A modern vehicle has many systems. Check them all. Make sure none were affected by the collision so you can repair that vehicle properly. The last thing I want to talk about, without getting into SRS, which is supplemental restraint systems, are fluids. Maybe the vehicle needs a special power steering fluid or air conditioning oil, special type of oil. Make sure that you check the backside of wheels, because you can have a chunk missing, but it's not apparent, it's not obvious. Always check the sidewalls of your tires, and even look for the spare tire. You might be what happened to the spare tire during the collision. These are things that you want to take a look at. I think I'm going to end this video here. There is a lot you can talk about when it comes to seat belts and airbags, and all the different sensors, but I'm going to end here for brevity's sake. I hope this video was informative. I want to thank you for watching.